Hello, my lovely, lovely friends. Welcome to Wednesday and the Coffee Run, episode 434. Really excited to talk with you today. I was just interviewed on a very, very fabulous Ticker TV, actually, which is a brand, well, not brand new anymore. It was new last year. News web streaming service, and I've had a really great time. And the interview was all about how to be a flamingo in a bucket full of crabs. And I thought that I would come and talk to you about it because I think the thing that we've seen a lot, and we see a lot, particularly here in Australia, is that tall poppy syndrome is insane. It's really ridiculous. And when I was doing some research for this particular article, because it's an article and also the interview, one of the things that I found was that Americans don't seem to have this being so much of a big issue, but here in Australia, it's a huge deal. So what happens is that what the statistics say, let me just pull these out. How's this? 68% of people believe that there is a negative culture in Australia around ambition. And in fact, it shows that nearly 7 out of 10 of us have these really big goals, big dreams, big visions, big things that we want to achieve, but we're shit scared of telling anyone or going out there and promoting it because people are just really quick to bring you down. You know, I know for me, I've had, when I started this business, we had people say, oh, you know, really, do you really think you're going to be able to make it work? Wow, okay, these are the naysayers that kind of tend to kick in, right? That they're, they don't see what you see, and so they tend to bring you down. And then we've got these other people who might be disguised as friends, family, other people who might be close to you. When you start hitting up at these next levels from a frequency perspective, what happens is that the people who aren't doing the growth that you're doing or the personal growth that you're doing or achieving and hitting the strides that you want to achieve and hit, they'll be like, oh my gosh, they're leaving us, right? They're ascending quick, like look at them go. And then what happens is that they'll try and drag you back down to their level because it's where they like you to be. It's how they like you to fit into their 9 dots, into their little box. Really make sure that you're trying to keep them, that you're making them feel comfortable, right? So if you think about it, think about a bucket that's filled with crabs. When there's a bucket filled with crabs, all of the crabs will try to get to the top in an effort to get out, but then these little crabs from underneath will kind of like grab their legs and drag all of these other crabs back down, and things like that. And you're never going to get out of that bucket. And so the things that you've got to be really aware of is that this is what will often happen inadvertently, and people don't really know that they're doing it, but they don't like that you are trying to step out of the 9 dots. They don't like that you're trying to ascend and change your life, change your world, or do different things. Even if we look at leaders, leaders of today, oh my God, there was, I have a bit of a thing about, making sure that we're respecting different people and things like that. But then there's also, flaming and shaming people for putting themselves out there and for trying to do the right thing or trying to do what needs to be done. And I just think, to me, it's kind of like, instead of tearing each other down, why are we not building each other up? Hey, Linda, happy Wednesday. And so, I look at it in the business community. I spend a lot of time working with business owners. It's what I do, and therefore looking at how this plays out. And, it's kind of like, it's when people first start, it seems to be that people are like, yeah, go, that's awesome. And then you might achieve this level of success, and then they're like, oh my God, yeah, she sold out, he did this, they did that, don't agree with that, or they'll share an opinion about how you are or who you are or what you've sacrificed, and then be all judgy about it. But then when you hit that next level where you've actually you've created a long-term sustainable impact and long-term sustainable influence, then all of a sudden these people are like, yeah, I knew them way back when, we're old BFFs. It seems to go through, in Australia, it seems to go through these 3 stages. And so what I thought I would help you with today was number one, I think knowledge is power. And if you know that if you're trying to put yourself out there and step into the spotlight, if you're trying to get out there and be seen and be visible and change the world in the way that you're doing that, then it's going to take some grit, and it's going to take some courage. So the first thing that you've really got to be aware of is you've got to be courageous. And I think one of the more recent examples that we've had of this, like him or not, is Pete Evans, Chef Pete Evans. And, you know, there was the 60 Minutes interview where Liz Hayes asked him some questions that were, and it was portrayed as, in my opinion, I think he was portrayed as a bit of a loopy doopy. But he was happy to get on there, and he was just willing to just be himself. But again, like, the thing is that you've got to know, first of all, and remember that not everybody is going to get it. And you're not always going to be portrayed in the way that you want to be portrayed, right? So if you've got that down, you've just got to be courageous. The second thing is that you've got to remember that there are many people out there that just don't get it. And this is where people might look at you and think that you're a bit of a narcissist, right? If you're trying to grow your visibility, and if you're trying to put yourself out there, and if you're trying to be seen in all of the places, then some people are just like, oh, you know, they're just full of themselves. And I think that they don't see the strategy, right? So they don't understand. A lot of people don't understand that you have to be the face of your business. You have to be willing to put yourself out there, get out there, stand up, show up, you know, speak about your opinions, educate, inspire, motivate, all of those things that you do really, really well. But the thing is that all of the other people out there don't understand why you're doing what you're doing. You know, I don't get on here every day just because I want to see my face on the camera every day. I jump on here every day because of a reason, and that reason is to help you and to propel you forward. And it's the same thing for you with how you do that for your audience as well, right? So some people might accuse you of being, you know, vain or narcissistic, or, you know, wanting to be everywhere just for the sake of being everywhere. And so long as you know what your intentions are and you're okay with that, that's all that matters. What they think, what they don't think is really irrelevant. The third thing that you've got to be really cautious of is the boundaries that you set, right? And there's nothing that sort of flushes out wobbly boundaries than somebody's attempt and effort at getting themselves out there and trying to step into your spotlight and trying to grow your visibility. It kind of like really flushes these floppy holy boundaries up to the surface. And what that looks like, hey Maxine, what that looks like is where people will, you know, be very demanding perhaps of your time or your energy or your knowledge. This can often look like friends and family. You know, friends and family might be, you know, one of the typical examples that I hear all the time is when people have been working from home pre-COVID. You know, if you work from home, people will just have other family members or friends or whatever roll up on the doorstep ready for a coffee, right? Now, that's all well and good, but what often needs to be communicated is, you guys, if I'm home, I'm working. You know, it's the same as if I was in a job, like, just, you know, I love you, but, you know, rolling in for coffee or tea every day is just not gonna, like, it can't happen. Like, I've got to work. So the thing here is that, you know, it can be really hard sometimes for you to get what it is that you want and what you need, but you've got to put these boundaries in place so that you can create that, right? And most of the time, if you're having a conversation with someone, you're like, hey, you know, it's actually a work day, or you just don't answer the phone, or whatever it is that you do, then, you know, like, you it's your house, it's your life, it's your business, it's your rules, it's your boundaries. Put them in place so that everybody knows what's going on. The next thing that you've got to be really, really aware of is this is fucking hard, right? Growing your visibility, putting yourself out there, constantly marketing yourself is an ongoing thing, and it doesn't stop. Like, unless you decide that you want to close your business. So this constant marketing doesn't stop. So the thing that you may experience at various different times is that you might get a bit tired. You might have message fatigue. You might have communication fatigue. You might have marketing fatigue. And the thing that you've got to remember is that this business isn't going to grow itself. Your clients aren't going to enroll themselves. You need to be able to keep showing up and doing all the things that you're doing. And what you really need to have in place on those days where you're a little bit like, oh, fuck, don't want to play today, or maybe you're just really tired, is having some people around you that you can draw upon who can be like, you know what, you've got this. You've totally got this. I see you. I hear you. You know, just get out there and smash it. I can see you building this momentum. It's looking amazing. You know, keep going. Because particularly in the early days while you're building that momentum, you won't always see the visible evidence that people are engaging, right? You won't always see the visible click, comment, share, the replies to emails. Having said that, I had an email reply yesterday. I sent an email to everybody on my email list, I think last week, talking about the board of advisors that live in my head and how I draw upon previous and current mentors for help, right? Hey, Maria. And and that's not like having conversations with them, like this all happens sort of like in my head. And I put out this thing and it was like, I was asking for advice and stuff like that. And a previous client of mine, she wrote me an email saying, oh, hey, I just had to reply. I'm even though I'm not working with you right now, I still read and watch everything. It's so motivating. I love what you do. Please don't quit. Right. And there was no chance of me quitting. I can't remember exactly what was in the email, but maybe it was like a bit tongue in cheek. Like, should I just quit? But that kind of thing, this particular person doesn't often comment on my stuff, doesn't often reply to my emails, but she'd seen there was something in her that had twigged her and made her reply, which I thought was really lovely. And most of your audience are going to be sitting in the background because it's about a breakdown of 75% of the population who will sit there and watch and look without actively, visibly engaging with you. So we've had a bunch of people watching today and the majority of you aren't even clicking like, you're not commenting, you're not saying hello, you're not waving to me, you're not giving your reactions. And, if I was, some days I'm like, oh man, what do I need to do? And then other days it doesn't bother me. But having your cheerleaders around you who you can draw upon, it's just like, like I've got this, right? And they're like, yes, you've got this, keep going is really important. And the fifth thing that I really wanted to share with you is about, just being aware that this thing, it does take time, but also being aware that as you start to grow and build your momentum, what will happen is that there'll be other people that kind of get flushed out from the woodwork. Hi, Fayan, great to see you. People will come out of the woodwork and there might be the naysayers, the doubters, the haters, the trolls, you know the people that I'm talking about, right? The people who will persecute you no matter what it is that you do, whether you do something, whether you don't do something, whether you say something, whether you don't say something. So the thing that you've got to remember is that there may be haters. There may be people who just, don't get it and who want to drill away and eat away at your confidence and erode away at that. They are the crabs in the bucket, right? Now, if you are a crab and you're in a bucket, you're going to find it really, really hard. So shift your mindset to being, okay, you know what? Those little crabs can just do their thing over there. I'm just going to go over here and be the flamingo. I'm just going to go over here and do the thing that I do best, which is being you, sharing your message, sharing your inspiration, marketing, educating, talking, helping, motivating, inspiring, doing all of those things that you do. And who cares what anybody else fucking thinks? Don't worry about the haters, right? And if they do come out to play, because sometimes they do, then you've already got your cheerleaders, if you've got from the previous step, you've already got your cheerleaders sitting there in the wings, ready to come and rally around you and remind you that you are a motherfucking badass. So that is what I really wanted to talk to you about today. So I trust that that's helpful. So the first step, remember, is have courage. The second one is understanding that most people don't get it. The third thing is making sure that you've got these boundaries in place with how you want people to treat you and communicate those boundaries really clearly. Choose your cheerleaders really wisely, and remember, the haters don't really matter. So feel the fear and do it anyway. Now, I trust that that's helpful for you. Any questions on that, let me know. We have got Funnelicious starting in this time next week, so I'm so excited. Wednesday next week, the 1st of July, so that you can put the fun into funnels. So there's no more trying to work out how to manage all of these people and everything like that. So it's all about automating as much as we can to grow and build your visibility, get your message out there, and of course, create huge impact and make money because you're in business and that is what you need to do. So we're doing all of that in Funnelicious. You can see the link there in the comments. If you've got any questions about it, make sure you let me know. Otherwise, rock on, my friends. Get out there, go help some people, have a whole ton of fun doing it. And remember, the world is absolutely freaking ready for your brand of awesomeness. I will see you tomorrow, if not before.